In ancient times, there were spices worth more than precious stones. Among them, one stood out not only for its warm, sweet aroma, but for the power it was believed to carry, the power to open invisible doors to well-being and wealth. Cinnamon. Kings kept it in vaults. Merchants braved dangerous seas to obtain it, and entire empires fought silent wars to control its trade routes. A handful of cinnamon could buy land, seal alliances, even serve as a dowry in marriage. It was not just a seasoning. It was a symbol of status, protection, and prosperity. I want you to picture this: an ancient marketplace at sunrise. The air is heavy with the perfume of incense and spices, mixing the warmth of the rising sun with the cool morning breeze. You walk between stalls filled with dyed fabrics, polished metals, and heaps of golden grain. But in the most protected corner, you see them: bundles of cinnamon sticks wrapped in cloth, guarded as if they were bars of gold. Men and women approach with reverence. They don't buy it just to cook. They buy it to protect their homes, to sweeten the energy of their space, to call prosperity closer. In every piece of cinnamon, they carry the belief that life can change. Florence Scovel Shinn understood something those ancient civilizations already knew. Everything in the material world is also spiritual. Nothing exists without vibration, and every object around you is more than it appears to be. Cinnamon, in the field of prosperity, holds one of the most powerful vibrations you can invite into your life. It warms, expands, and moves energy. It is the opposite of stagnation. And when we combine its physical presence with clear intention and the spoken word, we create a vibrational portal that money and opportunity cannot ignore. Today, you're going to learn a simple yet ancient ritual that can be done on the first day of the month, or anytime you feel the financial flow needs to be unblocked. It doesn't require expensive tools or long preparations, only you, your voice, and cinnamon. It works because it aligns three keys that have always opened the doors to prosperity: intention, the word, and a physical gesture. Here's what you'll do. Choose a moment in the day when you can be in silence without interruptions. Hold a small handful of cinnamon powder in your right hand. Close your eyes and visualize a golden wind coming from all directions, bringing money, clients, opportunities, security, and joy. Feel this wind crossing your doorway and spreading throughout your home, touching every corner with abundance. Then, standing at your front door, blow the cinnamon from the outside in, as if you are inviting prosperity to enter and stay. While you blow, declare firmly, "Just as this cinnamon spreads, prosperity spreads through my life." This phrase is more than words. It is a command. As the cinnamon disperses into the air, it carries the message you have just spoken, and the invisible field responds to clear, direct commands. When you blow it inward, you are saying to life, "I am ready. I am open." The way is clear for wealth to come in. Do not underestimate the simplicity of this. Florence always said that the most direct rituals speak most clearly to the subconscious. Cinnamon is pure, warm, and expansive, three qualities that accelerate the response of spiritual law. The act of blowing it is physical, but the impact is energetic. You are literally spreading prosperity into your space while imprinting on yourself the certainty that money is on its way. Before we move forward into the deeper layers of this teaching, I want to take a moment to share something important. This channel exists so that these messages can continue to reach the people who need them. And to make that possible, I've activated new ways for you to support this work. If you feel it in your heart, you can click the thanks button here on YouTube, what they call super thanks, and send any amount you wish. It doesn't matter if it's $1 or $2. Just like a seed, it's not the size that matters, but the intention you plant. Every seed given in gratitude is released into the field of prosperity and returns multiplied under grace and in perfect ways. And if you want to walk even closer with this work, you can also become a channel member. Each membership is more than financial support. It is a vibrational declaration that you are committed to abundance and in agreement with this message. Whether through a super thanks or becoming a member, you're not only supporting the channel, you are setting something powerful in motion in your own life. But let me be clear, none of this is required. Simply leaving a comment is already part of this current, because words carry power. So if you want to participate right now without spending anything, write in the comments, "Cinnamon for abundance." Your energy is felt here, and it matters. With every person who watches, visualizes, and declares along with us, an invisible circle grows stronger. We are creating a network of prosperity that expands with each new voice. And the more we unite our intentions, the faster the energy responds. In the next moments, we will go deeper into this ritual and explore how to use it not just as a symbol, but as a living spiritual tool, one capable of reprogramming your field to receive with greater ease. Because the true power of cinnamon is not only in its aroma or flavor, but in what it awakens when used with awareness and faith. And once you understand this, you may never look at this humble spice the same way again. I want to tell you a story I received recently from a subscriber named Laura. She sent it to me in an email, and as I read it, I could almost feel the shift she was describing. She began by saying that, for most of her adult life, money had been a source of constant anxiety. She grew up in a small town where people worked hard just to get by. The message was always the same. Life is about survival, not prosperity. By the time she reached her 30s, she carried that same belief like an invisible weight. She worked long hours at a job she didn't love, always calculating how to stretch her paycheck, always pushing the idea of joy or rest into the distant someday. One afternoon, she stumbled upon one of our videos. She had never heard of Florence Scovel Shinn before, and she admitted that part of her was skeptical. But something about the words struck her, especially the part about how the spiritual always precedes the material. She wrote, "I realized I'd been trying to fix everything in my outer world while my inner world was still speaking the language of lack." A few days later, Laura was scrolling through her phone when she saw the title, "Ancient Cinnamon Ritual to Call in Money." She said it caught her eye because cinnamon was already in her kitchen. I thought, why not? It costs me nothing, and at this point, I had nothing to lose. The very next morning, she woke up early. She described the day as still and quiet, with sunlight just beginning to slip through the blinds. She went to her cupboard, found the jar of cinnamon she used for baking, and poured a small amount into her palm. She stood at her front door and took a deep breath. Her heart was pounding, not because she expected something magical to happen in that instant, but because she felt like she was stepping into unfamiliar territory. She closed her eyes and pictured a golden wind swirling around her, carrying the scent of cinnamon into every corner of her home. In her mind, she saw money arriving in unexpected ways, checks in the mail, new clients, gifts, invitations, and ideas. Then, with her eyes still closed, she whispered the phrase she had learned from the video, "Just as this cinnamon spreads, prosperity spreads through my life." She blew the cinnamon inward, imagining that she was literally inviting abundance to cross her threshold. She told me that in that moment, something inside her shifted, not in a loud, dramatic way, but like a quiet click of a lock being opened. For the first time in years, she felt she wasn't chasing prosperity. It was coming toward her. The first week, nothing in her bank account changed. The bills were still there, the responsibilities still lined up, but she kept going. Every morning, she repeated the ritual, sometimes adding her own words, sometimes just feeling the cinnamon between her fingers before she blew it inside. She noticed that her mood began to change. Instead of waking up with dread, she woke up with a kind of curiosity, wondering what good thing might happen that day. By the second week, small things started to happen. A friend she hadn't spoken to in years reached out and offered her some freelance work that fit perfectly into her schedule. The payment wasn't huge, but it was the first extra income she'd had in months. A few days later, she found a gift card in a coat pocket, unused and worth enough to cover groceries for the week. Still, she didn't connect these things directly to the ritual. It's probably just coincidence, she told herself. But she kept going. She liked the way the ritual felt, the way it made her stand taller, the way it shifted the energy in her home. It was during the fourth week that something happened she couldn't dismiss. She received a call from a company she had applied to months earlier and completely forgotten about. They had an opening, one with better pay, better hours, and actual growth potential. She went to the interview with the calm confidence she had been practicing every morning in her ritual. She got the job. Her new salary was almost double what she had been making. But Laura said that the real change wasn't just in her income, it was in her identity. She no longer saw herself as someone who had to struggle for every dollar. She began to believe, deeply, that prosperity could be her normal state. The cinnamon ritual became more than a practice. It became a daily anchor to that belief. In her email, she wrote, "The cinnamon wasn't magic. The magic was in what happened to me while I was doing it. It was in how I began to carry myself differently, how I began to expect good things, how I started to speak to my life as if it was listening, because it was." Florence Scovel Shinn taught that your word is your wand. What you declare consistently, especially when you combine it with a physical act, imprints itself onto your subconscious mind. And once your subconscious accepts a truth, your outer world must rearrange itself to match it. Laura's ritual worked because it wasn't just a one-time event. It was a repetition, a steady tapping on the door of abundance until the door swung open. And there's something important in her story. She didn't start with full belief. She started with willingness. Many people think they have to feel completely certain before beginning a practice like this. But the truth is, certainty grows through action. The ritual becomes the container where that belief is built, day by day. By the end of her message, Laura wrote something that I think every one of us should remember. "I used to think prosperity was about luck or timing. Now I see it's about alignment. The cinnamon helped me align my words, my thoughts, my emotions, and my actions. And once they were aligned, the money had no choice but to come." Her story is just one example, but it illustrates a universal principle. The physical and the spiritual are never separate. When you speak over an object, whether it's water, cinnamon, or anything else, you are programming it with your intention. And when you pair that with a consistent physical act, you are teaching your mind and body to live in agreement with the reality you desire. In the next part of this journey, we're going to take what Laura did and break it down into practical steps you can weave into your own life. Things you can write down, reminders you can place around your home, even alerts you can set on your phone. Because when you anchor this practice into your daily routine, it stops being a ritual you do and becomes a way you live. Let us continue. Laura's story reminds us of something essential. A ritual is most powerful when it is woven into the fabric of daily life. Doing it once is like sending out a single ripple in a pond. It moves, but eventually fades. Doing it every day is like feeding a steady current into the water. The ripples build, overlap, and strengthen until the surface is alive with movement. And so, the cinnamon ritual is not meant to live only in that single moment when you stand at your door and blow it inward. That moment is the ignition. But for the fire to keep burning, you need to keep feeding it. through subtle, simple, daily actions that keep your energy in agreement with the abundance you've called in. One of the most effective ways to do this is to turn your home, your workspace, and even your phone into a network of reminders. Not reminders in the sense of nagging tasks, but reminders as spiritual anchors. Visual cues that bring you back to the vibration you set in your ritual. Here's what I mean. After you perform the cinnamon ritual in the morning, take a small piece of paper, a sticky note, or even a page from your journal and write down your chosen decree. Something like, just as this cinnamon spreads, prosperity spreads through my life. Or perhaps, I live in constant supply and all I need flows to me now. Place this note somewhere you will see it often throughout the day, on your bathroom mirror, on your refrigerator door, next to your computer screen. Each time you see it, pause for just a few seconds, breathe, and let the words sink in again. This is not about forcing belief. It's about inviting your subconscious to accept the message through repeated exposure. The subconscious mind learns through repetition, through patterns, through symbols. Every time you see the phrase, you are giving it another opportunity to take root. For those who live with others and prefer privacy, you can make your reminders more discreet. Use a symbol instead of words, a small cinnamon stick placed on your desk, a photo of cinnamon rolls on your phone background, even an image of swirling golden dust. To anyone else, it's decoration. To you, it's a code, a quiet signal that brings you back to the feeling of the ritual. Another powerful tool is your phone. Most of us check it dozens of times a day, so why not turn it into a channel for your decree? Set 1 or 2 alarms during the day, and instead of labeling them alarm or meeting, label them with your prosperity affirmation. Imagine your phone lighting up at 11:11 a.m. with the words, "Abundance is at my door." When it does, stop for a moment, close your eyes, and visualize the golden wind of cinnamon flowing toward you again. This takes less than a minute, but it reactivates the frequency you set in motion in the morning. Some people like to go even further and keep a small prosperity notebook. In it, they write their decree at least once a day by hand. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that writing amplifies the command because it engages another layer of the mind. When you write an affirmation, you are not only thinking it, you are moving your body in alignment with it, carving it into paper as a physical representation of your intention. In the same way that blowing cinnamon is a physical gesture, writing your decree is another way to anchor it into form. And here is something subtle but powerful. Pair your reminders with gratitude. Gratitude is the seal that locks the vibration in place. When you see your sticky note, don't just read the words. Thank the universe as if the abundance has already arrived. When your phone alarm shows your decree, smile and say silently, "Thank you." Gratitude tells your subconscious, this is real, this is complete, and the law responds to completion. It's important to understand that these practices are not about obsession or micromanaging the outcome. They are about maintaining alignment. If you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every hour to see if it's growing. You water it, you make sure it gets sunlight, and you trust the process. The cinnamon ritual is the planting. These daily reminders are the watering and the sunlight. Some of you may wonder, what if I miss a day? Missing a day is not a disaster. The key is not perfection, it's persistence. If you miss a day, simply begin again the next morning. Think of it like stepping back into a river. The current is still there. You just need to wade back in. The more often you step in, the stronger your connection to the flow becomes. I remember another message from a subscriber, a man named David. He started the cinnamon ritual with enthusiasm, but struggled to remember it every morning. So he made a small change. He placed his cinnamon jar right next to his coffee mug. It became impossible to make his morning coffee without seeing it. Within a week, the ritual became second nature, as automatic as brewing the coffee itself. That small shift in his environment turned the ritual from something he had to remember into something he couldn't forget. This is how you integrate abundance into your life. You make it part of your environment, part of your routine, part of your identity. You stop treating it as a special event and start treating it as the way things are. And when your outer life begins to look and feel like abundance is normal, your inner life starts to agree. The two feed each other until there is no separation between what you are practicing and what you are living. And this is where Florence's teaching becomes so relevant. She often said, "Man can only receive what he sees himself receiving." These daily practices, these sticky notes, these phone alerts, these small visual cues, are all ways of seeing yourself receiving over and over again. Each one is like a small mirror reflecting the truth you are building. I want you to imagine something now. Imagine walking through your day and everywhere you look, there are signals reminding you of your wealth. A cinnamon stick on your desk, a note on your mirror, a phone alarm at 3:33 p.m. that says, "Money flows to me in perfect ways." A line in your notebook that you just wrote that morning. Prosperity is here now. These aren't random decorations. They are part of a network of agreement between you and the universe. And every time you notice one, you strengthen the connection. So, starting today, I want you to choose at least one of these anchor practices and begin. If you already have your cinnamon jar, you already have everything you need. Tomorrow morning, perform the ritual at your door. Then, immediately, create your first reminder. Write it, place it, and let it meet you again later in the day. The goal here is not just to remember the ritual, it's to remember who you are becoming because of it. You are not just someone who hopes for prosperity. You are someone who lives in the vibration of it. And these anchors make sure you don't drift away from that vibration when life gets busy or distracting. In the next part of this journey, we're going to take these anchors and pair them with a deeper layer of practice, ways to engage your senses and your emotions so completely that the vibration of prosperity becomes unshakable. Because when the feeling is locked in, the form cannot be far behind. Let us continue. By now, you've begun to understand that the cinnamon ritual is not just a gesture, it is an alignment, a daily conversation between your physical world and the invisible laws that govern it. But there is a way to make that conversation louder, clearer, and even more irresistible to the forces that respond to your call. Engage every sense you have. When you bring your entire body into the ritual, your sight, your hearing, your touch, your sense of smell, even the way you move, you give the subconscious more channels to receive the message. The more senses are involved, the more real the experience becomes, and the faster your outer reality begins to mirror it. Let's begin with scent, because cinnamon itself is already a powerful aromatic symbol. Before you perform the ritual, take a moment to truly inhale its fragrance. Don't rush this part. Close your eyes and let the warmth of the scent move through you. Smell is one of the most direct pathways to the subconscious mind. It bypasses the logic and goes straight to memory and emotion. As you breathe it in, imagine the aroma as a golden mist filling not just your lungs, but your energy field. You are breathing in abundance. You are saturating yourself with prosperity before you even speak a word. Now consider touch. Cinnamon powder is soft, light, and fine. It moves with the slightest breath. When you hold it in your palm, take a moment to feel its texture. This is not about analyzing it. It's about letting your body remember the sensation. That texture becomes an anchor. Later in the day, even if you are far from your home, you might touch something with a similar feel. Flour, sand, even dust. And it will trigger the memory of your ritual, reactivating the vibration in an instant. Next is sound. Your declaration should never be mumbled or thrown away. It is the spine of the ritual, the command that sets everything in motion. Florence Scovel Shinn often reminded her students that the spoken word has the power to cut through the invisible and rearrange the visible. When you speak your decree, speak it with the authority of someone who expects to be obeyed, not in arrogance, but in certainty. If you're able, practice speaking slowly, allowing each word to land. You can even experiment with resonance, placing your hand lightly on your chest and feeling the vibration of your voice as you declare your truth. That vibration is the sound of creation in progress. Sight plays its role as well. When you visualize the golden wind carrying prosperity into your home, see it in detail. Notice the way the particles of cinnamon might catch the sunlight as they move through the air. Imagine them not just falling to the ground, but dispersing into every corner of your space, settling onto your furniture, your floors, your walls, each one a tiny seed of wealth taking root. In your mind's eye, watch your home being filled with light, warmth, and ease. The more vivid the image, the stronger the impression on your subconscious. And then there is movement. The act of blowing cinnamon inward is already symbolic. You are literally directing prosperity into your space. But you can amplify this by the way you stand, the way you breathe, even the way you position your hands. Before you blow, plant your feet firmly as if you are rooted into the earth, steady and unshakable. Lift your chin slightly, as if addressing the unseen directly. As you exhale, imagine that you are sending a wave of energy forward, your breath carrying not just the cinnamon, but your decree itself into the space ahead. This combination of body posture and intentional breathing turns the ritual into a full-body act of command. Now imagine what happens when all of these senses work together. You smell the cinnamon, you feel its texture, you see the golden wind, you hear your own steady voice. You feel the movement of your breath as you send it forth. Your mind, body, and spirit are all speaking the same language at the same time. And when that happens, there is no confusion in the field. Your signal is clear, unwavering, and powerful. There's another layer you can add to this: soundscapes. Some people like to perform the ritual in silence, and that is perfectly fine. But others find that playing soft instrumental music or even nature sounds like wind, water, or gentle drums helps create a sacred atmosphere. If you choose music, let it be something that feels expansive, something that opens your heart and lifts your energy. Over time, your mind will begin to associate that sound with the ritual, and hearing it will instantly bring you back into alignment with the vibration of prosperity. You can also create a dedicated space for your ritual, a small area near your door where you keep your cinnamon, perhaps in a special container, along with any other symbols of abundance that speak to you. This might include coins, crystals, fresh flowers, or even a small bowl of water to represent flow. The space doesn't have to be elaborate. What matters is that when you step into it, your body recognizes that it is entering a zone of creation, a place where your words take shape. And here's an advanced tip. Combine the cinnamon ritual with a brief act of physical giving. After performing it, take a coin, a small bill, or any token of value, and set it aside with the intention of giving it to someone that day: a person, a charity, a tip jar. This act of immediate circulation tells the universe, I am not afraid to let money flow. I trust its return. It turns the ritual into a complete loop, calling prosperity in and sending it out, keeping the current alive. Florence often said, whatever you send out comes back to you multiplied. By engaging all your senses in the ritual and pairing it with an act of giving, You are sending out not just words, but a full-bodied vibration of wealth, and the law will return it in kind. It's also worth noting that when you practice this multi-sensory approach, you begin to create what I call prosperity echoes. Throughout your day, certain things will trigger the memory of your ritual: a whiff of cinnamon in a cafe, the sight of golden light at sunset, the feel of powder between your fingers. Each of these moments is an echo, a reminder, and every reminder is another small reinforcement of the signal you've sent. Over time, the ritual stops being an isolated event and becomes a state of being. You carry the scent, the image, the sound, and the feeling with you. You are no longer waiting for prosperity to arrive. You are walking in it, surrounded by its signs, attuned to its presence. And when you live like that, the physical manifestation has no choice but to catch up to the vibration you've been holding. In the next part, we're going to explore timing and cycles, how aligning your cinnamon ritual with certain moments in the month, week, or even day can create an even stronger current for abundance. Because just as a farmer chooses the right season to plant seeds, you can choose the right energetic seasons to plant yours. And when you do, the harvest often comes faster, fuller, and with less effort. Let us continue. Every farmer knows that planting is not random. Seeds sown at the right time, in the right season, take root faster and grow stronger. The same is true for the seeds you plant in the invisible: your words, your intentions, your rituals. Florence Scovel Shinn understood this, which is why she spoke of the appointed time in spiritual law. The law works at any moment, but there are windows when the current is naturally stronger, and aligning with these windows allows your work to flow with the tide instead of against it. The cinnamon ritual is already a potent act on its own, but when you align it with cycles that have been recognized for centuries by ancient cultures, nature itself, and the rhythms of human energy, you create a current so powerful it's almost as if the universe leans forward to meet you halfway. Let's start with the first day of the month. Across many cultures, this day is considered a fresh slate, a symbolic opening of the ledger for the days ahead. In energy work, the first day of the month is like the first page of a new chapter. You get to set the tone for what follows. Performing the cinnamon ritual on this day sends a clear message. This month begins in abundance, and abundance will follow me through its end. If you want to go deeper, choose the morning of the first day, ideally before you've spoken many words or interacted with many people. In those early hours, your mind is still free from the noise of the day, and your energy is pure, unshaped by outside influences. That is the perfect time to plant your decree. Now let's talk about the lunar cycle. The moon has always been linked to the ebb and flow of energy, just like the tides. If you align your cinnamon ritual with a new moon, you're working with a natural period of beginnings, planting seeds in the dark, fertile soil before they sprout. Your intention at the new moon is like a whispered promise to yourself and the universe, quiet but powerful. On the full moon, the energy is at its peak, bright, expansive, and ripe for manifestation. Performing the cinnamon ritual during a full moon can be a way to amplify what's already growing, to accelerate the arrival of the things you've called in. You might even combine the ritual with a moment of gratitude, thanking the universe for what is already on its way. Some practitioners choose to perform the cinnamon ritual on both the new moon and the full moon, one to plant, one to harvest. Think of it as tending your energetic garden twice each cycle, each time reinforcing the flow in a slightly different way. Beyond months and moons, there are daily cycles to consider. Every day is a miniature life cycle with its own dawn, peak, and rest. The morning, especially shortly after waking, is a powerful time for the ritual because your subconscious is most receptive then. Right before sleep is another potent moment. Your subconscious will carry your decree into the dream state, letting it settle deeper as you rest. There are also symbolic times during the day that can act as portals for intention. Many people notice patterns in numbers, like 1111, 222, or 333, appearing on clocks or receipts. These moments can be used as quick micro-rituals. Even if you don't have cinnamon in your hand, you can pause, close your eyes, and visualize the golden wind from your morning ritual. In that instant, you're reconnecting with the frequency you set earlier. And don't overlook personal anniversaries or significant dates in your own life. Birthdays, the date you started your business, the anniversary of a turning point. These are days that already carry emotional weight for you, and that weight can be harnessed to fuel your intention. Performing the cinnamon ritual on such a day is like striking a match in a room already filled with the scent of memory and meaning. It ignites faster. The same principle applies to seasons. The start of spring, for example, carries the energy of growth and renewal. Autumn often holds the vibration of harvest and gratitude. Winter can be a time of sealing and preservation, while summer brings expansion and bold action. If you live in a place where seasons are pronounced, you can tailor your cinnamon ritual to align with these natural moods. And here's something many overlook: emotional timing. There will be moments when you feel a surge of clarity or joy for no apparent reason. That is a perfect moment to perform the ritual, even if it's not the scheduled day. Why? Because the law responds most quickly to energy that is alive and vivid. If you find yourself feeling unusually open, grateful, or inspired, take the cinnamon, stand at your door, and speak your decree. You are planting in the richest possible soil, your own elevated state. In all of these timings, monthly, lunar, daily, seasonal, emotional, the key is not to turn the ritual into a rigid obligation, but to let these windows inspire you. Think of them as opportunities to ride a stronger current, not as rules that bind you. If you miss the first of the month or the new moon, it does not mean you've missed abundance. The law is always working. These timings simply give you an extra push. Florence often taught that when you align with the law, you remove the need for strain. She would say, when you are in the right vibration, things happen easily, without struggle. Timing your cinnamon ritual is one way to enter that vibration with less effort, to step into the river when it's already moving swiftly. And here's the beauty. The more you practice in these aligned moments, the more you'll notice that your everyday life starts to feel aligned too. The boundaries between ritual time and ordinary time blur, and you begin to carry the vibration of prosperity into everything you do. Whether you are performing the cinnamon ritual or simply walking through your day. In the next part of our journey, we're going to address something that timing alone cannot fix: the inner resistance that can quietly block your results. You can perform the ritual perfectly, at the most powerful moments, and still feel like something is holding the flow back. In Block 6, we will go straight to the source of those blocks: fear, doubt, guilt, and I will show you how to dissolve them so completely that the current of abundance can move through you without obstruction. Let us continue. You can stand at your doorway with the finest cinnamon in your hand, speak the most perfect decree, and choose the most powerful moment on the calendar. And yet, if there is a hidden wall inside you, the current cannot pass through. This is one of the most overlooked truths in all spiritual work. Your outer actions can be flawless, but your inner state can still be quietly canceling the very thing you're trying to call in. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that you cannot receive what you do not feel you deserve. Those words pierce to the heart of the matter. Many people carry an invisible sentence written deep within them, a sentence that whispers, "I am not worthy." It may have been carved there by the voices of childhood, by the sting of disappointments, or by the weight of others' opinions. And until it is erased, Even the most powerful ritual will be like planting seeds on rocky ground. The seeds may sprout, but they will wither quickly, never reaching their full beauty. Before abundance can pour into your life, you must first recognize the quiet saboteurs that live inside the mind. Fear asks, what if this doesn't work? Doubt insists, this is too simple to bring real change. Guilt murmurs, why should I have more when others have less? And unworthiness whispers, I can't ask for abundance, I haven't earned it. These are not the voice of truth. They are echoes from a past self, a self that didn't know the power you now hold. Florence made it clear, the law responds not to your words alone, but to the vibration that carries them. You can declare, money flows to me in perfect ways, but if somewhere underneath a quieter voice is saying, but it never has before, then your vibration is divided. One part of you calls, the other part blocks. And when that happens, the flow becomes a trickle, when it was meant to be a river. You do not dissolve these blocks by fighting them, because fighting gives them attention, and attention makes them grow. You dissolve them by replacing their root. The subconscious listens to repetition, to imagery, and to feeling more than it listens to logic. That is why the cinnamon ritual is so powerful. It engages all three. But before the ritual can work at its fullest, the channel inside you must be clear. Imagine, before you begin, that you are standing inside a room. The walls around you each bear a word: fear, doubt, guilt, unworthiness. Now see yourself holding the cinnamon, not as a spice, but as a glowing ember in your palm. As you speak your decree, imagine the cinnamon releasing a golden dust that fills the air, clinging to the walls, softening them, dissolving the words, until the walls themselves fade away. You are no longer in a closed space, but standing in the open, with nothing between you and the horizon. This is more than imagination. It is communication with the deepest part of your mind. The subconscious does not argue with pictures, it absorbs them as truth. And once it accepts a new truth, the old one begins to fade without a struggle. Some people find that before speaking their main decree, they need to affirm that every blockage is already gone. You can say, I now release every thought and feeling that has blocked my abundance, known and unknown. Or, the way is clear, the channel is open. Or even, I dissolve every wall and walk free into the flow of prosperity. These are not just words. They are signals to the unseen forces that govern your experience. They tell the field that you are ready to receive without resistance. The law cannot bring you what you secretly reject. If somewhere inside you believe that having more would make you unsafe, unloved, or judged, your subconscious will work to keep it away as a form of protection. This is why it is not enough to call in prosperity. You must also feel safe in its presence. Ask yourself quietly, what am I afraid would happen if I suddenly received everything I wanted? Sometimes the answer is surprising. It might be a fear that loved ones would resent you, or that new responsibilities would overwhelm you, or that you would no longer know who you are without the struggle. When you see the root of that fear, you can speak directly to it. You can say, it is safe for me to be seen in abundance. You can say, my prosperity blesses everyone I love. You can say, change opens doors instead of closing them. These statements, spoken with conviction, begin to melt the ice that has held your blessings at a distance. When the walls inside you are gone, the cinnamon becomes more than a ritual. It becomes a carrier of an unbroken signal. Your decree is no longer pushing against resistance. It is moving freely into the field. And when there is no inner argument against your desire, results often arrive with startling speed. Sometimes within hours, sometimes within days. The moment the law sees that your vibration is whole, it responds in kind. That is the nature of divine reciprocity. So before your next cinnamon ritual, take a moment to breathe deeply and listen. Ask yourself if you are truly open to receive without hesitation. If the answer feels like a hesitant maybe, then pause. Spend those extra minutes clearing the space within you. Let the walls dissolve completely, so when you step to your doorway with the cinnamon in hand, there is nothing left to block the flood that is waiting to arrive. And in the next part, we will take this open space and fill it with a force that multiplies everything it touches. We will call in the golden current of gratitude and learn how to project it forward so that the cinnamon you hold today will continue to work for you tomorrow, next week, and far into the future. This is where the ritual stops being a single spark and becomes a flame that never goes out. And when you understand how to keep it burning, you will see that the money, the opportunities, and the blessings you call in are not the end of the ritual. They are the beginning. Gratitude is the language the universe understands without translation. It is the frequency that, when broadcast from a pure heart, multiplies itself endlessly. Florence Scovel Shinn spoke often about giving thanks before the blessing arrives, because in doing so you declare that it is already yours in the unseen. This is the essence of faith, not hoping that something will happen, but knowing it has already happened in the invisible and simply awaiting its appearance in the physical. When you combine the power of cinnamon with the current of gratitude, you are not merely asking for money to come. You are weaving yourself into the same pattern that abundance itself flows through. Imagine this. You are standing in your doorway, cinnamon in your hand, ready to speak your decree. Before you say a single word about money, you close your eyes and call to mind 3 moments from your life. Moments when you felt supported, when something arrived just in time, when you experienced an unexpected kindness. It doesn't matter how long ago they were or how small they seemed. As you breathe in, let each of these memories rise in your mind as if you were there again. See the colors, feel the air on your skin, hear the sounds around you. And as you breathe out, whisper, "Thank you." The thank you is not to a person or a moment alone. It is to the field that made it happen, the same field that is listening to you now. This is the first turn of the key. Gratitude is not simply an emotion. It is an amplifier. It takes the signal of your decree and makes it brighter, louder, more coherent. Without it, your call for money is like a single candle in a dark field. With it, your call becomes a bonfire that can be seen for miles. The law is drawn to coherent signals, just as the human eye is drawn to light. When you express gratitude as though your desire has already arrived, you bypass the waiting and enter directly into receiving. Now picture the cinnamon in your hand as a golden dust, each particle carrying the vibration of your gratitude. As you blow it through your doorway or scatter it across the threshold, see those particles moving forward into your future. See them settling on the days ahead, the weeks ahead, the months ahead, as if they are marking them for blessings. Every place the dust touches becomes fertile ground for prosperity. You can visualize it falling into the hands of the person who will call you with good news, onto the desk where the contract will be signed, into the doorway of the shop where you will find the opportunity you have been waiting for. This is not idle fantasy. It is targeted intention. You are giving the law specific images to manifest, specific paths to open. Gratitude is also a safeguard. It keeps you from slipping into impatience, which is one of the fastest ways to choke a blessing. When you are truly grateful, you are already in the energy of having. There is no space for, "Where is it?" because in your vibration, it is already here. Florence would remind her students that the law cannot deliver to a heart that is half believing, half doubting. Gratitude closes the gap. It says, I have it now, and I am thankful now. The universe hears that as completion, and in the physical world, completion seeks to reflect itself. There is also a secret rhythm to gratitude. When you feel it deeply, the body shifts. Your breath slows, your muscles release, your mind becomes still. This is the state in which the subconscious is most receptive. If you speak your decree in this state, it bypasses the noise of daily thought and lands directly in the soil of your deeper mind, where it begins to grow without interference. That is why I tell you, do not rush your cinnamon ritual. Take those extra minutes to feel the gratitude first. It is not a delay. It is preparation of the richest kind. And here is something that few realize. Gratitude can be projected forward as a continuous stream. It is not limited to the moment of the ritual. After you have completed it, keep returning to that feeling throughout your day. When you sip your morning coffee, think of the money that is on its way and say, thank you. When you open a door, imagine you are stepping into new opportunities and say, thank you. When you see a coin on the ground, treat it as a messenger of greater sums and say, thank you. These small moments are not small in the field. They are confirmations that keep the signal strong long after the cinnamon has settled. The more you weave gratitude into your day, the less your mind will wander into worry or scarcity. Worry is a leak in the vessel of manifestation. Gratitude seals it. And when your vessel is sealed, what is poured in cannot escape. It can only grow, multiply, and overflow. In the coming moments, we will move to a part of this ritual that turns it from a personal act into a collective wave. Because when more than one person holds the same image and speaks the same decree, the field does not just add their energies, it multiplies them. This is how communities have prayed for rain and seen it fall, how circles have spoken for healing and seen bodies restored, how groups have called for abundance and seen entire families lifted. You are about to learn how to connect your cinnamon ritual to a greater current, so that the money you call in for yourself becomes part of a flow that blesses far beyond your own life. And when you join that current, the return to you is not just financial. It is the joy of knowing you are part of a river that will never run dry. When you understand that your words are not just sounds, but vibrations that carve pathways through the unseen, you begin to realize that you are never truly speaking alone. Every thought, every decree, every breath you send into the field finds resonance somewhere. This is why the ancients gathered in circles to pray, to chant, to sing songs of abundance. They knew that one voice could call, but many voices could summon a wave. And now, you and I have the opportunity to join in that same tradition, to transform a personal ritual into a collective force. Picture this. Thousands of people scattered across the globe, each in their own homes, some in cities buzzing with movement, others in quiet rural places where the night air is still. They do not know each other by name, yet in a single moment they speak the same decree, breathe the same gratitude, and release the same scent of cinnamon into the air. Imagine the invisible threads of intention connecting them, weaving a golden net across continents and oceans. The law does not see the separation, it only feels the coherence. It feels the harmony of 1,000 beating hearts speaking as one. This is what happens when you connect your ritual to a collective. Your individual desire for financial blessing is lifted on a wave of shared intention. The energy is magnified, the manifestation accelerated, the pathways multiplied. You are no longer a solitary voice calling into the wind. You are part of a choir that the universe cannot ignore. Florence Scovel Shinn understood this when she taught the power of agreement. She said that when two or more stand in harmony, The law moves without obstruction. Imagine what happens when it is not two, but hundreds, thousands, linked by the same decree. In this moment, you are invited into that current, not just as someone who receives, but as someone who contributes. Because the flow of abundance is not a one-way street, it is a river. And rivers remain alive only when there is both giving and receiving. When you release cinnamon into your space, do it not only for yourself, but also for the others who are doing the same somewhere in the world right now. Speak your decree with the awareness that your words are joining theirs, that your breath is carrying a blessing to someone you will never meet, but whose life will be touched because you decided to add your voice to the current. There is a beauty and a mystery in this kind of connection. You may never see the faces of the others who participate. You may never know their exact words. Yet you will feel the shift in your own life, and in quiet moments, you may sense that you are not walking this path alone. Perhaps the opportunity that finds you tomorrow was born from the decree of someone across the ocean today. Perhaps the money that arrives unexpectedly in your account is the echo of gratitude from another heart that released cinnamon last week. The field is vast, and its ways of returning blessings are countless. To join this collective current, you do not need to sign up for anything. You do not need to know the others, and you do not need to be perfect in your belief. All you need is to speak as though the blessing is already here and to mean it. All you need is to act as though you are already part of something bigger than yourself, because you are. Even as you listen to my voice now, there are others listening too, perhaps at a different hour or even a different day. But in the timeless realm where vibration is stored, our words meet in the same moment. This is why I often invite you to write a specific phrase in the comments. It is not just for engagement. It is a public declaration, a visible point of agreement. When you type those words, they do not vanish into the digital void. They stand as markers, affirmations frozen in time, each one a seed planted in the soil of the collective. And when you read the words others have left, you are reminded that the river flows both ways, that as you send your intention out, countless others are sending theirs toward you. So as you prepare your cinnamon today, I invite you to add this to your decree. This blessing flows to me and through me, multiplying for all who agree. Let it be the bridge between your personal desire and the abundance of the collective. As you scatter the cinnamon, see it not only covering your doorway, but spilling over into the pathways of others, finding its way into their homes, their hands, their futures. Feel the joy of knowing that your ritual is lifting more than just your own life. It is raising an entire tide of prosperity that will touch shores far beyond your sight. In the realm of spirit, there is no distance. There is no delay. When the vibration is coherent, the effect is immediate in the unseen, even if its arrival in the physical takes the shape of a process. The very moment you join your decree with others, the pattern shifts. Doors that were shut begin to unlock. Opportunities that were hidden start to surface. The law, recognizing the chorus of agreement, moves to fulfill it. And when the fulfillment comes, it does so not in a trickle, but in a flow, because the seed was planted in a riverbed, not in a solitary pot. In a few moments, I will guide you into the exact words you can speak to seal this collective connection, to mark your cinnamon ritual not only as an act of personal faith, but as a contribution to a living network of abundance. When you speak them, know that somewhere, perhaps at the same second, perhaps days apart in the physical, another voice will be speaking them too. And when those voices meet in the timeless field, the wave will begin to move, and it will not stop until it has touched every life that dared to agree. There comes a moment in every ritual when the preparation fades and the act itself becomes the bridge. You have heard the principles, you have felt the call, And now it is time to step across that unseen threshold. When you cross it, you do so not with hesitation, but with the authority of someone who knows that the universe has no resistance to a decree spoken in alignment with divine law. This is where the cinnamon transforms from a spice in your hand into a living emblem of your intention. Hold it now in your palm, feeling its warmth, its subtle roughness. This is not merely plant matter. It is a piece of the earth infused with centuries of use in temples, homes, and marketplaces. In its fibers is the memory of countless prayers, blessings, and offerings. Feel the lineage you are joining, the invisible choir of voices who, through time, have used this same fragrance to carry messages into the realm of spirit. You are not starting something new. You are continuing a chain that began long before you were born. Take a breath and feel that the air you inhale is not empty. It is alive with possibility. As you exhale, release any lingering thought that you must chase prosperity. Money, like breath, responds to rhythm. You are not running after it. You are inviting it into a dance, a pattern that feels so natural it cannot resist. The cinnamon in your hand is the drumbeat. Your words are the melody. Together they form a song that wealth recognizes and moves toward without hesitation. Now speak. Not softly, not as if you were asking permission, but as one who already possesses the promise. Say, "Divine supply, flow to me now. Multiply in my hands, bless every corner of my life, and return to me in ways I cannot yet imagine." Feel how your own voice changes as you speak it, not because the words themselves are magic, but because speaking them with conviction transforms you. You are not simply repeating sounds. You are imprinting the field with a command it must obey. As the words leave your lips, take the cinnamon and scatter it where you want prosperity to enter. Across your threshold, in the corner of your workspace, along the windowsill where light pours in. Imagine each grain as a tiny golden messenger running into the unseen to announce, "This place is blessed. This life is open. The flow has begun." There is no wrong place to release it. Every space it touches becomes a point of agreement between you and the law of abundance. And as you do this, hold in your mind's eye the vision of your life already transformed. See yourself paying every bill with ease, not from fear, but from gratitude. Picture the surprise deposits, the unexpected gifts, the opportunities that seem to appear from nowhere. Let your body respond to that vision. Feel your shoulders relax, your breath deepen, the faint curve of a smile on your lips. This is the state that pulls the blessing in faster, because the universe responds to the way you are being even more than to the words you say. In this moment, you are not alone. Even if no one else is physically with you, there are others listening to these same words, at different hours and in different places, performing their own cinnamon ritual with the same decree. They are scattering their grains, they are speaking their blessings, and their intention is touching yours. This is the web we spoke of earlier, the golden net stretching over the earth. When your ritual enters this web, it does not remain small. It becomes amplified, charged with the energy of agreement, and it moves out into the world with a momentum you could never create on your own. There is one final seal to this act. Place your hand gently over your heart and say, "It is done." Not, "It will be done," not, "I hope it happens," but "It is done." Those three words are the lock on the door you have just opened. They do not push the blessing away into the future. They anchor it in the present. And when the present is saturated with the vibration of already having, the future can only reflect it back to you. From here, resist the urge to check if it's working. That is the same as digging up a seed to see if it has sprouted. Instead, water it with gratitude. Each time you think of money, see it as already moving toward you, because it is. Each time you smell cinnamon, whether in your kitchen or in the air of another place. Let it remind you that the ritual is alive and still at work. And when you begin to see the returns, because you will, recognize them, give thanks for them, and allow them to be the first proof of the greater wave that is on its way. If you feel the shift in your spirit right now, add your voice to the chorus in a visible way. Go to the comments and write, "The flow has begun." Let it be a marker of your agreement, a declaration that you are part of this collective current. Every time someone else sees it, they will add their agreement to yours, and the wave will grow. This is more than interaction. It is participation in a living, breathing law. You have crossed the threshold. The cinnamon has been scattered. The decree has been spoken. The seal has been set. Now you walk as one who has already received, because the truth is, you have. And the law, faithful as it is, will not fail to deliver what you have called in. There is a stillness after a true ritual, a silence that is not empty, but overflowing. It is the moment when the unseen forces rearrange themselves in response to what you have spoken. You may not feel movement in your physical world yet, but trust that the shift has already begun. The energy you set into motion with cinnamon is not wandering aimlessly. It is moving with precision, tracing pathways you cannot yet see, bypassing obstacles you did not even know existed, and delivering blessings prepared for you long before you asked. This is where many turn back. They sow the seed, but they do not wait for the harvest. They declare the word, but they abandon the field before the rain comes. You will not be one of them. You will hold your vibration steady, because you understand that this is not a game of testing. It is a covenant between you and the divine law. And divine law has never failed. It does not operate on chance, emotion, or human deadlines. It operates on truth. The moment you spoke with faith, it began to fulfill itself. I want you to see yourself walking into the days ahead as if they are already drenched in favor. Notice the signs, the sudden ease in conversations about money, the way someone offers you help without you asking, the unexpected opportunity that feels perfectly timed. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. Each one is the universe whispering back to you, "I heard you," and the more you acknowledge them, the faster the flow becomes. Your part now is to walk as though you are already the wealthiest version of yourself, not because of numbers in a bank account, but because you have mastery over your inner state. You know that every object, every scent, every word you speak is a tool. You have learned how to turn a humble spice into a magnet for abundance. You have understood that nothing is too small to be sacred when handled with intention. And so I say to you now, guard your words in the coming days. Let nothing leave your lips that you do not want multiplied. Speak blessing over your work, over your home, over the hands that give to you and the hands to which you give. Treat each phrase as if it is cinnamon, something you scatter to sweeten the ground before you step on it. If you can hold this posture, you will begin to live in a continual state of ritual where every breath is an invocation and every movement is an offering. I also want to speak directly to your place in this community. What you have just done is not a private act. It is part of something larger. There are thousands of others, maybe even tens of thousands, who will hear these same words and take this same action. Each one adds weight to the scale. When you engage, when you leave your declaration in the comments, when you add your energy, you are not just interacting with a video. You are becoming part of a living current of prosperity that runs through all of us. If you have felt the truth of this message today, I invite you to take a step further. YouTube has a feature called Super Thanks, and it allows you to send any amount as a seed into this work. Whether it is $1 or something more, it is the intention that carries the power. Like planting cinnamon in the soil of this message, Your offering becomes part of the same vibration you have just activated in your own life. You can also become a channel member, standing with this message not just in agreement, but in partnership. But let me be clear, there is no requirement to give financially. This law does not belong to money alone. It belongs to alignment. By leaving your declaration in the comments, you are already giving something of great value. And I want you to do that now. Right. The flow has begun. Let it be the stamp on what you have spoken, the final echo that seals it in the field. Every time those words are repeated, they strengthen the current. Every time they are read, they remind someone else of what is possible. You have learned the ritual, you have spoken the decree, you have scattered the cinnamon and anchored the vibration. From here, your life is no longer a place where lack is at home. You have turned the key, opened the door, and stepped into a greater flow. Walk in it without doubt, for the law is faithful. It does not forget, it does not delay without reason, and it does not return void. So take one last breath with me. Feel it fill you, hold it, and release it slowly. Whisper to yourself, "It is done." And as you do, know that somewhere, someone else is saying it too, and the two of you are now linked in the invisible. This is the covenant. This is the seal. This is the truth. The flow has begun, and it will not stop until it has completed the work you have called it to do.